it's so much fun to relive these old days and things that I have and pay homage to the history of the business. And Mick, we're going to transition from that into something that it has been a part of my summer over the last 3 years. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make it this year, but I have met so many cool people. And I will say, out of the one thing that I've enjoyed over the summer times, it is going to Waterloo, Iowa. And let's bring in Chad Olson. Chad, what's going on, dude?
Not much, just trying to stay cool here. I'm sure you guys have the Midwest heat up north too, like we do in Iowa.
Brutal.
Yeah,
I think the whole country has it this week.
yeah.
Tropical, Chad. Hey, Chad, you're looking good there, buddy. Looking forward to seeing you in about a month. And I've said many times the Waterloo Convention, and Chris will agree to this. It is such a great time. The Hall of Fame, George Tragos Thesz Museum. There's a difference between that and what happens at Cauliflower. And that's, not to say that Cauliflower isn't great, but the closeness of the guys, the proximity, the looseness, and
the accessibility, the informality is what I love. It's like a big gathering of family and friends. And I've met so many friends over the last few years, Chad, and people that I would not have met if I wouldn't have been able to go to the Hall of Fame and spend that weekend in Waterloo. So I thank you guys for putting that together and allowing us to be a part of it, because it is, for a wrestling fan, it's nirvana.
Well, we appreciate your participation, but before I get into the weekend, I jumped on a few minutes early. I saw the tail end of the Martel Hansen match, and that broke my heart because Martel was champion when I started watching the AWA. So that's always been the knife and the dagger in the heart watching the end of that. And he had to put his head on the buckle and cheat.
Low life bastard.
But Martel didn't have a fat wife and 9 kids, so
yeah, that's true. So. No, thank you for having me on. We're very excited about this year's event. It's our 26th year. We have a lot of great folks coming in. It's July 17th through 19th in Waterloo. And as you can both attest to have been there in the past. And Polish Joe, we'd love to have you come down.
I'm going to make my inaugural debut this year. So I look forward to meeting you. Yes. And I see Baron is going to be there. So it'll be good to see him again. I hadn't seen him since Al Baruch's funeral. But I will be in Iowa this year.
Yeah. And and like you said, Chris, it is like a family reunion. Mm-hmm. It is different from Cauliflower Alley, and I'm a lifetime member of Cauliflower Alley, big supporter of them as well. But it just, like you mentioned, the accessibility, the wrestlers are, we're not Las Vegas, obviously, but it's about 2 blocks from the museum to the hotel and the convention centers in the middle. And we cram about as much fun in those 2 blocks, maybe per square foot, as you do in Las Vegas. I know that's a bold statement, but I think it's a heck of a good time. And we start off with our reception on Thursday night in the museum. Then we'll follow it up back at the Best Western Plus, kind of the hotel site. We'll have wrestling trivia, and every year that gets pretty heated. I know Mr. Karch was on a winning team a couple of years ago. Were you on the same team as him, Chris? Or all right,
I was. Yes, right.
Somebody had to carry Karch along, right?
Yeah,
that's a heavy load, Chad.
Well, we had Joyce and Woody, and I think we had Jim Pouquet, but it was mostly Joyce and Woody that
I'd say Joyce.
Mostly Joyce. Joyce carried it. Yeah.
So this year we're doing something different than on Friday and Saturday, just because we've grown so much. We're moving most of the podcasts, the roundtables. Those are going to be in the Waterloo Convention Center. Just space-wise, it makes sense. Of course, the museum will still be open during those times, so people can go down, check out the museum. If you want to tour the basement, I might can arrange that, and we can go down and see some of the other artifacts in the basement. But we're going to bring some of that stuff over to the convention center too, and have some temporary displays set up and really show off some of those artifacts. And
Chad, when I talk to people who have not been to Waterloo, and they're kind of skeptical, it's not cauliflower, I say it is so much fun because everybody seems to be so relaxed and so loose. It's not your typical fan convention where people are herded in like cattle. I mean, this is a brotherhood, and the guys and the ladies of the business are so friendly and cordial to the fans.
They are. I've been to a few other fan conventions, and it's like nothing I've ever seen. And I think it's just the charm of being in the birthplace of the NWA, and how, the museum, it's the Dan Gable Wrestling Museum. So it's obviously mostly amateur wrestling, but they've embraced us, and they allow us to have a section of the museum dedicated to professional wrestling. And Dan Gable usually comes in on Thursday night during the reception.
Yeah.
And it's always really cool to see so many legends of professional wrestling starstruck by Dan Gable.
As they should.
Like,
yes,
like Mark Henry, Rick and Scott Steiner, Kurt Angle. Gable said before when we were honoring the Steiners, he's like, "Oh yeah, I remember you. We beat you that year. We beat Michigan every year." he keeps track of these guys, and it's really cool to see their admiration for him.
Well, and to me, one thing I enjoyed is I got to have breakfast last year with former NWA World Champion Tommy Rich.
Yeah.
Like, I never would have imagined sitting at the same table as Tommy Rich and just chatting it up. And I'm like, I'm sitting right next to Wildfire and Mick and with the trivia, we were sitting next to JBL and James Beard and just, talking about Brad Reagans. And it was just, it's so the accessibility. And just the respect that the legitimacy of the pro wrestling industry combined, I think, with the amateur too. It's like everybody that you've got there, I feel, has got a significant amount of credibility. And I think that adds to it as well.
Yeah, I think you're right. The museum, the honorees were started as people who had achieved success in both amateur wrestling and professional wrestling. And as years have gone by, we've altered that to a little bit to maybe just professional sports in general. But we also have added a lot of awards over the years to honor people in professional wrestling who've made their mark in other ways. We've added a trainer award the past few years. And this year, Ron Hutchison, trainer of Edge and Christian and so many others, Trish Stratus, he's coming down. And Adam Copeland is going to induct him. And he's going to be accessible to the fans. And the last time he was here, when we honored him a few years ago, he was wonderful. He was so accessible to the fans, as was when Beth Phoenix was honored a few years ago. And she actually was an amateur wrestler in high school. And, now that amateur wrestling for girls is more popular, at the time, my daughter, she's a freshman in high school now. And Beth Phoenix just talked to her about, how tough it is to be an amateur wrestler when you're a girl, before it became sanctioned that, girls only wrestle girls now in Iowa and Minnesota and so many of the states. And Beth Phoenix, such a wonderful person. And all the people we bring in are so respectful and just courteous to the fans. And, I think the fans kind of police themselves. We don't have anybody going crazy. You might have some of the people show up who aren't part of the weekend with their 50 action figures, and they go stand at the back of the line. We let in our all access pass holders first for autographs, and then the general admission folks too, because we do want to, it's not a fan fest. It is a family reunion. And over the years, we've just added more and more people,
I think, Joe, you are going to be fascinated by the museum itself. For people who have not been there, this is not only a walk through history. I mean, I've been around this since, the Abe Lincoln days, and I'm fascinated at the memorabilia that's displayed. Everybody from Gene Kiniski and Lou Thesz all the way up to Adam Pearce, has something in the museum. And you talked about the fans policing themselves, Chad, and I think that's really important because the wrestlers are making themselves accessible. They don't have to, but they do, and the fans in turn are so appreciative of that.
I feel like they're more respectful here than they would be other places.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And as far as you're concerned, Chad, I watch you. You're a whirling dervish down there. I watch you every year. You're all over the place. You're running around like you're a balloon, that has the air let out of it. You do an absolutely fantastic job of keeping everything moving, keeping things together. The professionalism combined with the flexibility and the informality is just great. What a combination.
Well, thank you so much, sir. That means a lot, as an AWA fan and watching you on TV. And I remember the first time I met you, I called you Mr. Karch, and I don't remember who was with you, but they snickered. I'm like, hey. Hey, this guy meant a lot to me. I saw him as,
I don't remember my ex-wife being at one of the events, but
Are you sure it wasn't Mr. Crotch?
Don't worry about that. I'm looking over the lineup, and there's a guy going down there for the first time this year, a local fan. And I said, go to the website, take a look at who's going to be there. And he was absolutely blown away. He says, oh my God, are you kidding me? Nope, this is what they do, and they do it well. And it is such a great, I can't emphasize enough to people, if you haven't been there, you've got to do this. You've got to experience it at least once.
Well, and I'll give you all, I haven't put this on the website yet. Now, by the time this comes out, it'll probably be on the website. But one person we just added this week who reached out to us because they wanted to be there, and that's kind of the reputation we're getting. It's a place where the wrestlers want to come and congregate too, is the madman from the Sudan, Abdullah the Butcher.
Oh my gosh.
And I was talking with his, I'm not sure the relationship between, if it's his manager, if it's a relative, but and I talked to her Wednesday night, and I said, we'd love to have you. And then she goes, Abdullah wants to say something to me. She's like, thank you for having me. I'm like, thank you for coming, sir. It's our honor to have you. So he's going to be there. In the past couple of weeks, we've added the Cuban Assassin, Fidel Sierra, he's making a return. He came in last year, and despite all the flight issues we had getting everybody out of Cedar Rapids last year, he came back. Glow Girl Sunny, Patricia Summerlin's coming now. You mentioned Baron von Raschke. We just announced a couple of weeks ago we're going to honor him with the Impact Award. And I have to, and you all know the Baron. I said, we're giving you the Impact Award. And he goes, was the impact good or bad? And I said, well, sir, we'll take a vote on that. But, we have so many people coming in. If there's young wrestlers, Les Thatcher is heading up a training seminar on Saturday.
It doesn't get any better than Les.
No. I mean, yeah, the stories he can tell, just get ready and grab a seat, because he can go for a while, and just the stories, the experiences he's had as promoter, booker, program writer, announcer, wrestler. It's just amazing, training school owner. So he'll be running a training session with himself, Joe Malenko, D'Lo Brown, James Beard, and Ron Hutchison. And you never know who else might just pop in there,
Chad, is there a nicer guy in the world than James Beard? I mean, this guy is just incredible.
He is. He's become such a part of our Waterloo family, like you all have, and like you will, Mr. Polish Joe. It's just amazing how people come in and they want to keep coming back, because it's just such an enjoyable experience for them.
Here's the thing that I'm looking forward to the most, besides it being my first time and seeing some of the boys that I've worked with and some that I've not worked with. This is a legitimate Hall of Fame with a museum. It's not a made for TV.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe.
Put in some names in there to try to get some eyeballs. There's a physical place. So for me to show up and experience everything without the memorabilia is enough to get me excited. Add in the memorabilia part, and now I'm really psyched for a legitimate Hall of Fame, pro wrestling Hall of Fame.
Yes. We're honoring some great folks this year. One familiar to you all, Miss Medusa Michelli.
Oh yeah,
will be honored. Eric Bischoff is receiving an award. Ron Simmons, what an athletic resume he has, right? College Football Hall of Famer, Ron Simmons. We're doing a really cool event after the show on Saturday night called Beers with the Boys. And it's going to be Ron Simmons and John Layfield telling stories, and we'll have an open bar. And Mr. Layfield has joined our board, our advisory board over the past year, and he's just come up with amazing ideas. And he said, he's done these things at other fan fests, and they're pretty popular. I'm like, let's give it a try. Saturday afternoon before the show, because like kind of the big event for a lot of the wrestlers will be the training seminar on Saturday afternoon. But then before the show starts and before the fan fest starts, we just have talked to Eric Bischoff, and it's the weekend is the anniversary of the Bash at the Beach show where Hogan joined the NWO. So we're going to have him talking about that and what led up to that. So, and I'm sorry, Mr. Joe, I interrupted you.
No, you're fine. My leaning in and everything. Am I hearing correctly? Open bar with professional wrestlers?
Oh, no. Cash bar.
Okay, I thought I heard open bar, and I'm like, are you sure?
No.
Out of all the things that got Polish Joe excited, it's an open bar.
Well, that too, but
I raise money. I can raise money, but I can't raise that much money.
Chad, I was going to say, Chad, I'm going to give you a little advice. Whoever the liquor distributor is for that weekend, not only with JBL there, but when you got Polish Joe and Ron Hutchinson in the same room at the same time, dear God, it'll be like a tsunami in there.
Well, the hotel bar, that bar has a history of changing ownership every year.
Mm-hmm.
And in a rarity, that's the same owners as last year. So we got in touch with them a couple weeks ago, said, hey, remember us? And the owner didn't, but then she said something to her staff, and in the background, they're all like, yeah, we love those guys, but there's light and a lot of food. So we're making arrangements to take care of that. So we should be better prepared for that.
For last minute people who want to attend, who are watching this and haven't made reservations yet, can give us a lowdown, please.
Yeah. So if you go to the George Tragos Thesz Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame web or Facebook page, we have all the information there. There's a bit.ly, there's a QR code if you take you to the ticket site. You can buy an all access pass, which gets you, that's the best deal. Gets you into everything. Now the Bischoff experience in the Beers with the Boys were late ads. So we will charge a nominal, probably $10 fee to all access pass holders. Next year, we'll know ahead of time to kind of add those in. If you just want a general admission ticket and buy those things separately, you can also do that. But for $140, you get a meal on Thursday night. You get the banquet meal on Friday night when we do the Hall of Fame inductions. It gets you a entrance into the wrestling show, all of the events. We have an autograph session on Friday afternoon, so you get premium access to that. And anything you want. We treat all our guests well, but our all access pass holders, we give them a little extra kick up. Now, the Best Western Plus, our hotel venue, is sold out right now. I do have rooms for, Mr. Karch and Mr. Joe. Chris, I guess I'll just give them your room. But
I'm so bummed that I can't make it. I get a personal situation with my daughter that all good, all very, very good things. But I'm so bummed that I'm not going to be there. I'm hoping that I can make it again next year because I've already got FOMO. I've already got FOMO just listening to what's going to be happening. So I'm looking forward to hearing and seeing all the pictures and the videos, but I will do my damnedest to be there next year.
Good. Because, I like your Twins hat. I don't know if you see over my shoulder, I got a lot of baseball and wrestling in here, but right over my shoulder is a Minnesota Twins Lucha Libre mask that I found on eBay from a Twins giveaway a few years ago. So
love it.
Chad,
my two worlds.
Before we go, I for anybody who has health concerns too, I want to mention the late Sir Oliver Humperdinck, just to put everything in perspective. As we're pulling into Waterloo one year for the Hall of Fame, he's kind of taking a look at the landscape around him, and he says, "Oh, you got a pizza place, you've got the wrestling venue, you got the museum, and you got a hospital, all within a couple of blocks."
Oh yeah,
says, I'm all set. So,
we check all the boxes. Yes.
Chad, I'm looking forward to that. You do such a tremendous job, and it's a kick. I've been down there several times, and I look forward to it every year. You are a gentleman, my friend. You really are.
thank you very much. It is a lot of hard work, like you said, but the fans, when they thank you and they're so appreciative. And I mean, like I said, wrestlers are reaching out to come to us. That makes all the hard work worth it.
Perfect.
Look forward to seeing you and meeting you next month, Chad. I will be there.
Yes. All right. Look forward to it. Chris, you'll be missed, but we'll keep you in the loop.
All right. Appreciate it, Chad. And
Take care, Chad.
Thanks, Chad.
All right. Take care.
We'll see you soon.
There he is. Man, it is I'm telling you guys, my full disclosure for those that are wondering why, my daughter is big into theater, and she got a starring role in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory as Willy Wonka. And that is her Thursday the 17th is her big performance. So I cannot and will not miss that. But I am going to live vicariously through you guys. And I expect you guys to come up number one at the trivia contest, because if you don't, we're gonna have a talking to. When you
well, we've been screwed on that trivia contest more than once. I think they have maybe something against the podcast. I don't know what it is. There seems to be an anti-AWA bias.
It is a schmoz, right? It's a big schmoz against us.
Yeah, there's no question about it. But if we get into trouble, as I said, Hutchison and Chupik will be there. They won't have any idea where they are. We turn these guys loose on the judging committee, and we're going to come out of there with a grab bag of goodies. I guarantee you.
It might not be yours, but you'll come away with something.
So one way or another, I don't give a shit who we have to knock over to get there. But it's such a great time, Joe. You're going to love it. It's an amazing thing. And Chris, absolutely, we'll keep you updated on what's going on down there. We'll come back with some pictures and good stuff. Good stuff.
I don't know. This might be a no cameras allowed type of an event.